7. I can see that most people are here. For those of you who don't know, Matt came down this week with a South African strain of the Ghana kaka, and it was not good for any of us. So he is up and running. We weren't even sure if we were going to make this webinar today, but he did make it. And Matt, we're really glad to have you feeling better. I'd like to welcome everybody. It looks like we have almost everybody here. There's a few people missing today. And we are caught up on the new upgrade material, the new upgrades and other technical processes that we were cleaning up on Kraken. And so we're caught up on almost everybody. You know, we were a week behind on everybody's words and look at the keywords and their blueprint. Looks like we're all caught up except for one person. You know who you are. We are taking care of that. And so today it's the same as usual. If you have any questions as we move through this process, I actually believe that Sue Bell is a fly on the wall today. I'm not certain if she's going to be here for the entire event. There's always an opportunity. Oh, there she is. Okay. Yeah, she's feeling a bit frisky as well, I might warn you. I was over at the Steam Zoom Secret Labs for a few hours last night with both Kevin and Sue working on much evilness.
No tequila was involved.
Yeah. None. No agave plants were injured during the process of this stuff that we're working on. So one of the things that I want to point out that this day's, let me put this, I got this on the giant 72-inch monitor here. Let me pull this back. No process map should be that big. Today we have week 7. And let me just do a roll call and check in with you. Can you just please give me a 1 if you are feeling like you understand the process that we've moved through up to this point, and give me an honest 2 if it's still fuzzy or cloudy, because I just want to drop. Okay. And that's okay to be honest. I'm not going to use your name out loud. I think that's an important distinction. I'm not going to confront anybody live on this broadcast. I just really want to know authentically who's getting it. We're constantly in Kaizen. We're in continual. Okay, that's okay. One person just got back from vacation, and I'm glad that you were able to take a vacation. I, however, was not. So I'm going to mark you on my list as somebody to really mess with because you had a vacation. No, just teasing. Just kidding, Albert. Okay, some of you are still trying. Some of you are still trying to get caught up, and that's okay. But most of you have a general idea. Let's go ahead and another honest answer for me. This is truly coaching answer. Give me a 1 if you feel like you are up to, if you've completed the homework up to this point, and 2 if you have not. You do not have to answer if you are the person who I will remain unmentioned who we haven't finished the keyword process that you need properly. Okay. All right. So it's about half and half. And so one of the things that I really want to make sure is that the good news about this course is it's a perpetual mastermind group. And in the event that we do have the rather rare technical difficulty that we had in week 3, and in the event that some of you are on vacations, July and summer, it tends to be pretty much classically a month in which there are people there's a spotty calendar. The good news is that these webinars are recurring. Your personal coaching time is not recurring, but in other words, you get one shot really with the coaching. But the good news is that if in the event that you miss this particular stream, you can jump into the next stream which we have. And if there's a particular course, what's nice about that is we do have one person who consistently attends, if not all, many of the different things. And I also had somebody who attended multiple coaching processes until they really got it down, and then of course they didn't come to the live webinars anymore. So that's really the advantage that I wanted to remind you guys that for those of you who have not quite got it yet, of course you can contact us in the Technical Foundation Room. We want to make sure that we see all of you at the live coaching event in March, and if we don't see you this year, I want to see you at one of the upcoming coaching events of which this course can be used as a voucher. It's important for you when you arrive to have gone through the process of building a money site, so the completing of this process is very important. Now, keeping in mind that Matt's voice is a little bit rough today. We're going to try to keep it easy on him, knowing that he's just gone through this recovery phase. Feel free to ask any questions, and we're going to go through the launch preparation, launching your site, and getting indexed. I'm going to drop the week 7 area inside the chat room while he gets started so that you know exactly where all of this is. And with no further ado, I'll just step out of the way. Why don't we launch right in, Matt?
Okay, cool. Thanks a lot, Ross. How's it, guys? Quite a nice week because this content you're seeing tonight is pretty brand new. What we've been doing when we started the foundations was we built the SASE website as a case study, and we've only done certain actions and recorded what's actually happening in analytics, so we can actually give you the feedback that you want to see. So what I'm going to quickly do for you guys today is to give you a quick recap of the journey we followed and the process we've gone through. And then here at week 7, I want to start introducing you guys to the feedback loop that we get back from Webmaster Tools and analytics if we're tracking our stuff. Okay, so basically in the beginning we thought about our product, what we were selling. We then found the pain in the market. We discovered our keywords. We drilled in Kraken. We found some keywords that we liked, some themes. We then moved into DWS and we mapped out the keywords that we thought were important. And we looked at our business and we decided, okay, we're going to enter wedding, hair, and makeup. And we mapped out the silo structures and we targeted the keywords we thought would be important for this market that we're going after. Okay, so then what we did is we built the SASE site. We've got it live. Now, typically when we do these type of sites, we do them a lot faster than what this process has happened. But I wanted to get a really good data sample to show you guys how I look at the data when it comes to actually refine and work on the site. And I'm going to give you a quick glimpse of that today. Okay, so what we did is we've mapped out the site structure, right? And this is all the information we got back from Kraken. We imported the keywords into the keyword decision screen, and we chose the keywords that had the most value to our business and the keywords that best defined our story, okay, what we're doing on each thing. We then went out, built the site, got it live, and now we needed to see how do people respond to the site? How do they respond to the look and feel, okay? So can you guys give me a 1? How many of you guys have actually got your sites up? Or are you still busy mapping them out in DWS? Just give me 1 if you've got your site live, and a 2 if you're still in the mapping out phase. Okay, so we've got half and half. Okay, now guys, I want you guys just to realize when you build your sites, you're never going to have your site perfect the first time. So what you want to do is basically get your site live, right? When you're mapping out your first silo, okay, what you want to do is map out the keywords and look at the ones you want to target. Create your DNA braid, okay? DNA braid being the keywords that define or enhance your site. So if we look at wedding, for example, the DNA braid we'd add would be basically wedding hair and makeup in Walmart, wedding hair and makeup in Port Elizabeth. Those are supporting keywords. And then supporting other supporting keywords you've got is wedding hairstyles, bridal hair, wedding makeup. These are keywords that we'll use. For anchor text, they're words to be used within the copy of the page, and this is what we say it's part of the DNA braid. It makes up that page's content, those words. But the important words that have so-called traffic associated with them based on what we've seen through our analysis in the keyword decision screen. Okay, can you guys give me a 1 if you understood what I just said and you're clear on that? And give me a 2 if you didn't actually understand what I was talking about with the DNA braid there. So I'm just moving this questions thing here so I can see what's going on. Okay, cool. The reason why we build the DNA braid as well is what we're trying to do is we're trying to get traffic from multiple sources. And when we start using these keywords that have traffic associated with them, we can then see the feedback later on in Webmaster Tools. So what we did is, in this experiment, we focused on the wedding silo, and we did a bit of optimization on the wedding silo and the wedding pages. On the hair silo, we've not done much there, okay? We've got a bit of content. The content's fairly light. There's a lot of images, and we haven't really worked this out yet. And then on the makeup side, we've just left it even more light. So we can actually get a clear distinction in our analytics when we look back. So you can see lots of images, but not much content. And what this goes to show us is when I go over to my tracking, my branded keywords have brought in 1,746 impressions. The wedding silo with the 21 keywords that are linked that I'm tracking over there have brought in 1,335 impressions. However, the makeup and the hair has got minimal impressions. Okay, you can see that it's sort of almost a third of what the ones, our branded ones and our optimized keywords are. So you can see there's a big difference just on using the silo structure and optimizing it out. So all I've done here is on the Sassy site, on the wedding silo, we spent a bit of time, we worked on it, gave it a bit of attention, wrote more content, did all the stuff on our pictures, mapped out our silos, and that's given us over 1,500 impressions that we can actually look at. So what this does is, what does this actually mean? Okay, these are the keywords that I'm tracking that I believe have traffic associated with them. Okay, and I've got a benchmark in the sand. What's nice about Webmaster Tools, underneath the search queries, it brings back the keywords, okay, that are important. And what I usually do at this stage is I just click on the impressions link and I sort. And you can see that the first one is Sassy Hair, 592 brands. So the brand's getting known through the Facebook page. The brand's getting known in the locale. Okay, then there's Sassy Hair Salons coming through. Okay, then Professional Makeup Warmer. This is a keyword that's come in, and I've not really targeted this keyword, so this is quite interesting. Okay, but the average position is number 1. So we've got 182 impressions, but we're getting 0 clicks. The question is why? And what I typically do at this stage is when I get this feedback back, I go back to my pages. I look which page is getting ranked. Okay, so we've got 2 pages. We've got the home page, the Hair Silo Hair Salon, and then we've got the About Us page of Sassy. Okay, and we're not getting any click-throughs, so there's no calls to actions, and those pages aren't really clearly defining it for that person, so we're actually losing that traffic. But what's more interesting about this is when we look at this, we can actually see the way people are describing what they're looking for. So they're sort of giving us a little soundbite into how they describe the services that they want, based on us getting our sites live as fast as possible, getting our silos out one at a time, getting those pages indexed, and then waiting back for the feedback response. Okay, now this feedback response, the amount of traffic, will be a lot faster when you do this, okay, especially with the promotions. When you start doing the promotions and you've got your one foot all set up and you're running through the blog setup, you're going to see a bigger spike, and this is what we're going to be looking at next in the next review of the actual rankings and how things are moving around in the world of Sassy. Okay, so before I carry on, do you guys have any questions just on this part of the thing here? So what I'm essentially doing is I'm keeping my eyes on the search queries, and the reason why I'm watching search queries, I'm trying to find a correlation between keywords I'm targeting. I'm looking for missed opportunities on keywords, like for example, where's one here? Bridal hair warmer. Am I ranked for that keyword? Am I not? These are all impressions. Why am I not getting click-through rates? Why are my click-through rates low? These are things I'm looking at, okay? And I come back and I optimize every week. As I build my silo, I come back the following week, I look at the results, I go to my silo, I look at the pages that are ranked, and I see where I can tweak things. And this is where we just test and tweak. So I'm going to stop here for a minute, and we can have a quick chat about this, and then I'm going to then move on to the next section, what I want to show you.
So let's just pause right here for a second and make sure that everybody's picked up the general. Is there anybody, give me just a little bit of consensus so we know where you're at. Looks like one person is having a connection issue. How many, okay, give me a 1 if you're already using analytics, and a 2 if you are not. And that's any kind of analytics system. It can be clicky, it can be, part of the reason we're asking is because in the Next Tech SEO Tech Foundation, actually it's traffic and conversion. It's a completely different course, which is launching for the first time here in a month. We get really seriously deep into this, which then preps you for the automatic pin bid traffic should you desire to go and even further into that. Okay, so you are currently not. Some of you are using, it looks like almost everybody is. Okay, there's a couple of people that are not using now, for those of you, everybody who answered that you do use it, just leave it for a second. For those of you who answered that you do not use analytics, can you just confirm you've never set up analytics before, or you have set up? This is helping us shape the upcoming course, but also helping us make details in this chapter a little bit better. Never set it up. Interesting. Okay, good. That's good to know. You have set. One has set it up and one has not. Okay. You're not using it for this project, right, Mitch? You're not using it yet, obviously, because, yeah, we have a couple of things going on there. Okay. Okay, good. That's really, really helpful. Matt, Brian's asking, how soon can you expect results after making tweaks? I think at this point he's talking about if you see that your impression rate is higher than your click-through rate and the clicks aren't happening, which there's a lot of different reasons that can be. He's asking how quick you can expect results. It really depends. I mean, the data, the search engine result page has to update. And we're going to get into this a little bit now also in the upcoming Tech Foundation course on conversion analytics, which we go much, much, much deeper into the minutia of this. But we're going to give you the basics that you need. It really does depend on the tweaking of the headlines. You can write a bad description, for instance, for the search engine results page. In fact, most people do. Interestingly,
I just want to clarify something here, Russ, quickly.
Yeah.
On the search queries, the impressions here refers to the listing within the Google search results. Okay, so it'll be your title and your description. That's what the people see, and the clicks over here is them actually clicking on your call to action that Russell's speaking about.
Yeah, and you know what's
so this is what this data means.
Yeah, and what's also important to realize is that impressions can occur. I think Sue's still here, so I got to watch what I say here because she knows this really, really well.
Yes.
I've noticed this on really, really large sites, say 100,000 pages or whatever, where I'm going to be showing you guys tricks and techniques in a PinVid course coming up in a few months here, how to increase the impression rate site-wide. But I've noticed that, impression rate even happens if there's an impression, if for some reason somebody has drilled down onto the second page. My point is that it does have to do with rankings as well. You can get, if you're at the bottom of a search engine result page, you're still going to get an impression, but obviously you're going to draw less clicks because you have lower rankings. It's not only the description, right, Sue?
Say that one more time.
Okay. You will get an impression rate for your keyword, and if you're on position 9 or 10,
yes,
that is a factor in the low impression rate. Obviously, you're going to get less click-through rates percentage-wise overall if you're not ranked above the fold.
Right.
So my point is that that's a huge factor, you guys, and which is why we have the ranking aspects of our different courses, and we're trying to give you as much of the ranking aspects here. This is why we have you silo, because typically on your long tails you should be above the fold if you're siloing in the way that Matt has laid. I just wanted you guys to know that that's a factor in a high impression rate. Low click-through is also correlated. Matt, are you there?
Yeah, it's a big noise on the line at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah,
in South Africa.
Yeah, so typically what I do with the search queries at this point, every time one of your pages, if we click into this, every time one of our pages is loaded, that counts as an impression for that keyword. So if it's the index page that's loaded, that's one impression. If it's another page, you can see the breakdown of the actual impressions within the top 10.
Yeah, so everybody just chime in, just write. I'm trying to keep everybody active here. Write in the chat box one of the things that you think affects, how you think increasing the click-through rate with a low impression rate should be accomplished. Even if it's something that we just said, just type in your favorite method. Let's say that you have to include these, you have to increase these click-through rates. What would you personally do? What would you be trying for? Go ahead, everybody just put it in. Bob is saying, yeah, Mitch is saying better call to action. I agree with you, and that's the description, right, Mitch, is what you meant, but the description on the search engine result page. Yeah, and Bob is saying higher ranking, and that's a huge portion of what Network Empire is about, obviously, right? Wording and description, also excellent, Albert. In other words, you know, all the stuff that we taught you in persuasion architecture and that we'll teach you in upcoming courses about headlines, especially the painkiller article method. Whenever I use the painkiller article method, which we've discussed already in our previous week, a couple earlier weeks, the painkiller article method is like 5 things to avoid, or 3 reasons to, and you want to have the keyword in there also. I believe I should confirm that with Sue and Jimmy and Matt. But when you have that, the search engine results page is just as much a click, savvy environment as well. So the wording and description. Anybody else have something to say? Oh, I'm glad to see you made it back, Roy. Yeah, Roy is saying that AdWords can sharpen your headline wording. Anybody in here who's done serious AdWords, and by the way, your AdWords can be connected to your Google Analytics account. AdWords, very specifically, if you've written a lot of AdWords, one of the reasons that AdWords works so well, Sue and I in the early years called this pay-per-research. And when we say pay-per-research, it wasn't only just researching whether people wanted your product, it was researching what lines are clicked and then using that. Part of the reason AdWords works so well is your dopamine is really high because you're usually losing lots of money if your headline sucks. So you can split test really well. So you're suffering pain, and then so you're watching really, really closely what headlines are working, right, Roy? And it really is a good idea. You can take some of the basics of those headlines and expand them into the natural rankings. And those natural rankings and descriptions, you'll start to get higher click-through rate. It's really amazing. Like if I'm looking at a site with lots and lots of keywords, I'll find a high click-through rate on something, and if they're all above the fold, a lot of that will be dependent upon what description I've used. And like Roy is saying, if I've taken the time, there is a painkiller article method call to action. You're going to watch that click-through rate skyrocket. Okay, yeah. Go ahead, Matt.
Okay, cool. So the reason why, excuse me, I'm taking you guys to show you the search queries. This is your feedback response form from your site. Okay, this is like the heartbeat. You can actually see what's going on, what keywords are coming back, what traffic's being shown, based what keywords are being shown, and what pages are being shown per keyword, and you can actually see how they're running through your site. So, with that said, what happens now is, last week we spoke about the one feed, okay, and when you get it all set up and you start doing your blog posts, this is how you can tell what's happening with your blog posts. You can actually publish, and in Webmaster Tools you'll start seeing the feedback coming back in because the referral data will come through analytics, but it'll also mirror across into Webmaster Tools. And this gives you a nice feedback loop, and it also helps you to optimize your site or better target the actual keywords that you initially started looking at in Domain Web Studio. So if you pick up on keywords that are actually carrying traffic or impressions, you can investigate them further to see are there actually some things you want to add into an existing silo or any future silos that you want to build out. Like for example, men's makeup popped up today when I was looking at this, the keywords there, and I never thought about it, but there's quite a big interest for men's makeup, and I thought, wow, that's a whole untapped market I never even thought about. Okay. So when we're looking at the process, guys, what we're doing is we're researching, we're mapping out and building, we're publishing, getting it out, optimizing it, getting it indexed. Then through our blog posts on our WR1 blog, when we start doing our promotions, we now have got keywords that we can use and target, okay, from the search query. We can actually see where they're coming, and we can start optimizing and focusing in on the actual keywords we believe that are most important. So for example, hair salon Port Elizabeth is quite a good keyword that I picked up on as well. It's one I never really targeted, but there's a lot of traffic associated with it. Okay, so what I'll do is I start with a professional makeup warmer, and I'm going to look at what's ranked. I looked at the page, I optimize, I clean it up. One of you guys asked earlier, how fast can you get this feedback response? It depends on what you're doing. If you do PPC ads, like AdWord ads, you can get that instant response. If you do your promotions, it could take a day or two. Depends on how you're publishing and promoting it out. But what's also good here is when you see the search queries coming back as you're getting this response back for your site, it helps you write better blog posts as well, because you can start looking at what are the keywords people are using, what are those terms they're searching on, and then you can identify things to speak about surrounding those terms to feed that traffic back into your site. Can you give me a one if that's sort of clear of how I go from building the site, getting it live, waiting for a feedback response, then taking that feedback and then tweaking the site out. Do you understand what I was saying there, guys? Just give me a 1 if you do, and then a 2 if it's not clear.
Let me just pause for a moment here, Matt, and catch
Sure.
up with something that Roy is asking. Are you talking about the wording in SEO Yoast on-page plugin? Wording on the...
It's probably the meta keywords he's talking about there, I think. Roy, can you confirm if it's the metadata you're talking about in Yoast plugin?
I think he's talking about description, I hope. Oh,
yes.
Meta. Okay.
Yes. Well, you want to get closer to a traffic that's important to you. So if you're getting traffic, what this tells us was if you're getting traffic from stuff that's not really relevant to what you're trying to target, because with the search queries on the filters, we can filter by the web, we can filter by location. So if I went down to South Africa and I applied the filter, the keywords that are important to the people in South Africa, which I'm targeting, I can now see how they're looking for us. Okay.
Yeah,
so now
Matt, can you do me a favor and can you take one of your keywords yourself and just take them to the search engine? I think people are confused. At least a couple of them.
Sure.
I'm just showing what the description. Roy kind of nailed it. He's talking about. I want to clarify for people what meta description actually is. That's the call to action area. Just want to show them. Yeah. So show, just kind of point to an actual like there you go. See where his meta description is. It's as a guest of our salon, you'll receive the best professional service for hair, makeup, and ... I think there was the total number of characters is like 184 or something. The hair salon is situated.
That's 125.
125. Okay. So you have. It's kind of, like anything else, like Twitter or anything else. This was the first original limited lineage. It's really like lineage in the old ad days. People don't really think of it like that because they're so focused on just getting ranking. People kind of look at ranking for their keyword and their dashes, and then they kind of stop there. But, the description itself has a profound effect on whether or not it gets clicked. That always surprised me because I never really read much of the descriptions personally. But the jury's in. A lot of people do, and those descriptions might as well say something that is targeting the reason for the person being there in the first place. And Roy, the description in Yoast is edited on the description tag. Many of the other SEO plugins that you have, the description is altered. I'm not sure, are you still here? Not really. I think there's a description coming up. Oh, do we have a description area in the SEO plugin as well? Or do we? Yeah. So, Roy, you can also add your description call to action related to the keyword in the perfect silo structure and kind of write those. Again, we covered a lot of this. If you guys, if you followed the persuasion architecture model of the stackable persuasion in the first weeks, the painkiller, remember all the painkiller stuff we studied in week 3 and 2 and 3? If you've done that properly and you put that in the description, then you're going to have a lot of response then. Brett is asking, do you guys recommend placing phone numbers in the meta description or title for local clients? Sue, Matt, you want to address that?
Yeah, if you're going to use phone numbers, use ones that are trackable, especially if you're doing lead generation, Brett. You want to have a trackable number that you're actually sticking in there into that description so that you can actually follow the phone calls that come off that actual silo.
Is there any problem with phone numbers and any new information on that, Sue? We're good with that, right?
Yeah, it's going to increase your conversions, but it decreases your click-through rate on the SERPs.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of a catch-22.
It's a little weird. Like they'll call you. Sue has experience with that, where they don't even click. You think you're doing really crappy, but what your client called and said, "Man, our phones are ringing off the hook in the call center."
Yeah.
So that's one aspect. You'll still get click-throughs, but.
Okay. I would say that if you can track those numbers, you can make the correlation. But the thing is, you want to close the transaction as fast as possible. So if you are getting them through the descriptions, that's great. But yeah, this is what it does, guys. It shows us very clearly how we can improve here.
Yeah, sorry, Matt, I'm still answering questions too. Roy is asking which one is superior or favored. Is it the Silo plugin or SEO Yoast? Oh, Silo plugin just totally blows Yoast out of the water. Just kidding. Um, one of the things I would say is it really depends on what you're doing. Like they're not mutually exclusive in some instances. For instance, the new Silo plugin that we've been up all night beta testing and alpha testing, and that whip, Kevin and Sue have been cracking the whip to get edited, which is why I'm kind of tired this morning. This new version we have coming out, I think it works in tandem with if you have other SEO plugins installed, right, Sue?
Yes. So right now the issue that you have with the old version is if you have meta descriptions and meta titles in both Yoast and in the SEO plugin, it gets displayed twice in the header information. So the new version is going to fix that. And we should be out within a couple of weeks. We're really close.
Yeah, we're working on it. In fact, that's a big piece of the day when I'm not dealing with customers and writing shameless marketing sales letters. One of the things I would say, Roy, is that when it comes to things like the PinVid course where I'm automating, tens of thousands of video pages, these types of things, the new Video Kraken plugin coming out will address some of these conflict issues, and right now I'm using Yoast for that because Yoast has an auto insert. It's got a tokenization and allows me to pull descriptions right from the videos so that lineage that Matt is showing us here is automatically inserted, and that's really, really nice. So there's a time, again, the answer is always it depends. It depends on what you're trying to accomplish. If you're pulling out of DWS, of any silo builder, you can use these things in tandem. So it really, for me, isn't either or. For instance, Yoast doesn't silo. So the purpose of the silo plugin, that's the distinction I want to make. The purpose of the silo plugin is to change the structure and infrastructure of your website to rank higher using far fewer inbound links, right? Yoast's plugin is primarily designed to just help you with meta tags and data. It does have a couple of pretty cool features that I like when I'm auto-blogging. God forbid I use that word, but when I'm video syndicating is a better use of it. Does Yoast make SEO easier? Well, I think that's a relative question.
I would say the optimization part of it, Russ, probably makes it simpler. But there's a lot of features. If you don't know what you're doing, you can get lost in it.
Yeah, it's funny because I do have a video. I would be happy to offer you that. Actually, no, I can't because it really belongs to the PinVid. I went through the Yoast plugin with the best SEO that I know, which is a close tie between Sue and Jimmy. But Sue wasn't available. I went through the whole Yoast plugin setup to reality test my assumptions on how Yoast should be set up, both for the money site and the secondary site. And what Jimmy said was, and I think all of you agree, is like Jimmy knows what he's talking about for the most part, like totally. When SEO is like really, really sharp. So I went through each and every single feature. Albert, I think you were the one who asked me that. And Jimmy was actually kind of surprised by how much useless stuff there was on it. So I felt a lot, and I think Matt would probably agree. That's what I hear you saying, Matt, is like there's a lot of useless stuff, and you're going to want to, just stick to the things that you really, really know, and if it doesn't make sense, just like, I read a couple things to Jimmy. He was like, I don't even know what that means, but it can't be good. Like, just leave it alone.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of fiddling that is just not necessary, and it's just adding more bloat. For the other question for the local SEO, I'm actually pulling away from that plugin because it's not working properly. It's putting US metadata into the header, especially when you set it for a different country. It's not doing a switchover. So that's going to get done by hand. Those snippets, I'll just hand code them in through a text widget rather than using Yoast plugin.
I would remove that for now, Mitch. And I would actually, the thing is that Kevin has a lot to say about this plugin, and it's not nice. So I would want to catch him in a good mood about it.
We found a few holes the last time Kevin and I looked at it.
Yeah, no, that's a good question, Mitch, and it's been given a thumbs down by the semantic experts in the company, which is not really me. But there's a couple of reasons. Kevin pointed out that it was actually improperly marking up things site-wide. I don't recall the exact issue. I don't think he's on this call, but I will try to get you that. What's that?
For the locale.
Yeah.
for the country you're in.
Yeah.
It's if you're outside of the US, it's forcing everything to US locale.
Gotcha. Okay.
So
All right.
it's setting up
So
the
that's
wrong scheme for the company.
okay. And then as far as the U.S., do we know if it's working? We don't. Okay. I think just avoid it until I can confirm that for you, Mitch.
Yeah. What it does as well is it puts a lot of JavaScript loads in the page, which slows the page load down.
Oh, okay.
So you got this unnecessary calls. If you just use a text widget, you lighten the whole page construct with the header and the footer data that gets embedded into the page.
Yes.
So that's why I'm pulling the whole thing out, because it's just putting too much crap on the page to make those
Yeah.
little functions work. They've better just been done by text hand.
Gotcha, Matt. That's excellent. And so to summarize everything that we've just said up to this point, so that Matt can move on. Hopefully, everybody here understands why whether you're clear about meta keywords, tags, all these things. There's all these controversies about whether anybody even uses those things anymore. We have our own opinion on those we talk about. But the bottom line is you can understand why meta descriptions are still very, very important. Everybody give us a 1 if that makes sense so we can move on. And if you have a 2 still, that's okay. I'll jot your name down and I'll talk to you privately.
Okay.
We're all good, Matt.
Cool. Excellent. So what Webmaster Tools gives us is the feedback loop, guys. A few things I look at is, one, what keywords are the people using? How do they express themselves? I typically go in and I filter by the country I'm interested in to see how they use their language and how much actual impressions there are. And what this does is it helps me focus on what parts of the sites that have impressions that need improvement, so I can actually get that running up and running faster. So when we look at this here, we can see hair salons in Port Elizabeth, 31 impressions, 5 click-throughs. We've got like a 16% click-through rate from that actual description. We're sitting at position number 10. There's a missed opportunity. If we optimize that page, increase it in the rankings, this number will go from the double digits into the hundreds. Okay, so it's these small little things I look at this stage. At week 7, I start looking at these things. So as we build our silos, we go through an iterative process where we go and draw our keywords, map it out, write the content, build it, get it live, come back, do the same thing. Once we've got all 3 of our silos up, then we're going to have this feedback loop, and we can actually look at the keywords more objectively, and we can actually see how people express themselves, which then in turn means as we look at each page on our site, for that particular theme, for that particular silo, it becomes much clearer and easier to actually optimize because we can see where the traffic flows. Matt, impressions we're getting.
Matt, just if you could do me a huge favor, and if everybody on this call could do me a huge favor, since I had some recording issues literally up until just a few moments ago. So what I'm going to
this for us.
What's that?
I'm recording as well.
Me too.
Never mind then. I might need. Okay, I had everything up till about 10 minutes ago. I mean, I have. I didn't start recording. The record button didn't pop up until like 10 minutes ago. So
okay, no problem. We've got it all.
Okay,
so,
cool.
guys, can you give me a 1 if you get what I said there with regards to why I look at the search queries at this point in time, at this stage of the process, and you understand how to look at the impressions and the positions for missed opportunities, where the traffic flows, and what pages you need to tweak and fix. Did that clarify it for you guys? So do you see how block by block I go through the process, and at the end of the process I come back, I look at the response, I then decide, okay, what's got the highest priority, what's going to create conversions to what I'm selling now, and what I need to do to fix those things, and then I just deal with those bottlenecks, and then I put it back out in the wild again, and I watch the feedback response. Now, these results that we're getting over here from the site is purely just with the silo-structured site, guys. We're ranking for hundreds of keywords at the moment, and a lot of the keywords, for example, in the wedding silo, a lot of the keywords we're on a lot of positions number 1, but they're not exactly where the traffic is. So what I do is I keep on looking, where's the traffic by impressions, what position am I ranked for the keyword. If I'm ranked, and I keep on doing this, and I narrow it down, and that's how I go and optimize the whole site. Okay, so with the site chat that we've got today, been very interesting watching what we've been doing. We created the site and we just put the silo structure site up with no backlinks, okay? And being a very particular business and how they want to communicate, the girls have opted to use Facebook. So for the one feed system, we're going to almost use the Facebook clone to sort of get them away from Facebook onto the blog to create the one feed. And I'm just working on a new system to get things to work very nicely through the iPad, and that'll give us all the stuff. The next thing we're going to introduce into this project is Social Explosion, and we're going to start doing the DAS on this stuff. But we'll talk more about this in the traffic, the Tech Foundation 2, where we speak about traffic and analytics. This is we're going to really into the nitty-gritty of all that. But I just wanted to show you guys, this is all the results we've gotten so far, okay, in visibility across the keywords that we've targeted just purely with silo architecture that I've shown you here, and this is excluding the blog promotions, okay? This is just the actual WR1 primary website standing by itself with no backlinks. This is the results that it's had. Okay, so it's very, very powerful to see how strong this actually is and how it stands by itself. So as we add these other components into it now, you're going to see a massive jump in all this kind of stuff.
People are wanting to know what technology you're looking at right now.
Okay, this is awrcloud.com. It's just one of the tracking softwares I use. I'll stick it in the chat window for you guys.
It's not cheap, folks. So make sure that you're cash flow positive before you start looking at what kind of tool.
Okay.
But I've used them for years as well. They also are a ranking tracking system. I use the desktop version, but there's a web service as well.
Okay. I wanted to show you something else here. Rankings, the keyword groups. Sorry guys, just giving my throat a break. Okay. So what you'll notice here, guys, with the SEO branded keywords, that's constantly increasing, slowly. Now this trended line with the semantic, this is all related to the semantic, when we added the semantic stuff. If we go back to the dashboard, if you're running a real world business, I strongly suggest taking the semantic course and understanding that, because that is the direct result from the semantic inclusion. And you can see it's got an upward trend slowly with us not doing anything on the website, just the odd little tweak. Okay, so this snippet that I'm looking at here is basically the last, well, since April is when we started working with the site, effectively tracking it. How long is the time period for the webmaster data you're looking at SASE? Okay, webmaster tools is by default only 30 days, so this data set is in the last month. You can see from June to July. Okay, and what's great about this is I get to see, okay, I'm on position number 2 on average. I've got a 3% click-through rate. How can I improve it to get more of that traffic? And we can look at that keyword. So typically I'm not focused on the branded keywords. I want to get the other keywords that are not branded related. That's what I'm looking at for now. Okay. Guys, have you got any more questions with regards to that part where we start looking at checking analytics and looking for the feedback loop? Are you all clear on how I use that one screen to help me and guide me? Can you give me a one if you're clear on that?
It looks like they are. Roy has a good question. How long is the time period? Did you already answer that? How long is the time period for the webmaster data you're looking at? Did I miss that?
Yes, that was 30 days.
Okay, I apologize. Another thing that was asked privately by Brian was Bing is much smaller than Google, but do you ever set up and look at the Bing webmaster tool? I do. I don't look at it much, Brian, and I think I absolutely submit my sitemaps, every sitemap, to Bing to Microsoft Webmaster Tools. And for the larger sites, it absolutely makes a difference. I see traffic coming in from Bing much sooner, and I see a lot more of it coming in over time by just simply submitting the sitemap to Bing. But I must say, Brian, that's the only thing I really use Bing for. I don't go and use the analytics much. Not because it's worse, but just because I'm more often in Google.
Yeah. I typically don't use Bing's analytics much either. I track them through the cloud. When I watch my keywords, I can see by search engine. So when I look at the search engine comparison, it shows me Yahoo, Bing, and Google. I can see how the keywords are ranking across those 3 different ones.
Yeah,
So
and
we can sort of see
we'll get a lot
a lot
more
of
into
feedback.
we'll get a lot more into sitemap submission, I believe, in the next level up course.
Yeah.
If you have any questions about sitemap submission for me on the Tech Foundation Skype room, these are the things. I'm pretty passionate about it because it's definitely changed the speed to rank as well as the amount of exposures and impressions. So if you guys have any questions about that, it's really, really easy to submit a sitemap. We were talking about the Yoast software has a great sitemap, the new version of the video silo plugin that Sue has created a pristine, awesome spec for that we're currently in alpha. That's going to roll out to actually replace our current video silo plugin, which does not have a sitemap. This new plugin has a sitemap built right in, and I was just playing with it the night before last. I was just so excited I can't even tell you. So that sitemap, Brian, can go right. I'm definitely, for every silo site I do, I'm going to put that sitemap into Bing as well as Google's Webmaster Tools. Really easy, takes 30 seconds.
Okay, that's brilliant. Okay, guys, so this is week 7, okay? You should be doing a blog post for your first silo. If you haven't, typically what you want to do is you want to promote your blog, you want to write about a few articles, publish them out, get them out in your blog, get them on your Facebook, on your Twitter, and then start having the traffic flowing back into your site. And that is what the reason why you're doing that is you want to start testing. Another thing you want to start testing is the one feed. Is it working? You want to fill in your contact forms. Are your contact forms working? So at week 7, you're doing this promotion, you're preparing, you're getting all your stuff right in your mind. Okay, what words are we targeting? What are the keywords that have the highest priority? Where are missed opportunities where things need to get a bit more of a promotion? What pages do I need to fix on my site? These are the things that I typically think about as I'm getting to the stage, so that I can really focus it right down and only focus on keywords that are important, that have proven to actually have impressions and traffic. And once I control those ones and I've got a good click-through rate on them and the conversions are happening, then I come back and I look for more missed opportunities and I keep on refining as I swallow the markup whole. Okay. Yeah, Brett, that's fine. Just send me a Skype message and I will jump onto another session there. That's no problem. Okay, guys. So for next week, week 8, essentially what we're going to be doing is checking analytics, and that's to make sure that the feedback loop's working. Okay, this is to make sure that we're getting data into analytics. Webmaster Tools is working. Our list, our stuff, so there's no bugs on our site, no errors on our sites. We're going to optimize quick, click and clean, and then that's basically the first 8 weeks done. But before we get to next week, what you guys must take away from this whole situation is it's testing and measuring that gets you to the end goal as fast as possible, but it's through the testing and watching the data and thinking clearly about how people use the words. It's going to also save you a lot of time and money and effort. Okay, because what you're going to find is there'll be a subset of key keywords that control most of the traffic that people use. And if you dominate those, then the rest of the keywords that are out there will start falling into place as well. Okay, so you're trying to find that balance, and this is what I use the Webmaster Tools for, is just to give me a bit of insight into who are these people, what are the words they use, how much interest is in certain areas. And for example, yeah, hair salons is a big keyword. It's coming up, it's popping up everywhere, hair salon and hairdressers. I look for patterns in the keywords, and I sort of look at that. I look at my site structure, and then I merge the sites to sort of meet those patterns. And those are the words. I adopt those words, and I start expressing those words in the copy as we refine and tweak things out. That's all for today. I just wanted to show you guys some real-world data and explain how we use this information to optimize and refine our sites so that when we do come and start driving a lot of traffic to the sites, everything's in place that we can actually tweak, refine, and convert. Okay, I think that's about it all for today, Russ. Guys, do you have any further questions with regards to this?
Okay, let's go ahead and just, I think I have a, Are you going to be booking with timeshare, Matt, when you start feeling better? Is that how you've been doing it? Or?
Yeah, timeshare is much better because then at least people guarantee their slots.
Okay, gotcha.
I'll put that link out into the group.
Okay, because Brett was asking for that. Does Webmaster give you details of the visits to each page on your site? It was a question from Roy.
Yes.
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 He's talking about Google Analytics, Roy, or are you talking about Webmaster Tools? Because you said Webmaster.
Webmaster Tools, probably.
Which one do you mean? Because both of them do have details. Okay. You must not be here now. Oh, Google Analytics. Yeah, you can drill down into pages. I'm happy to show you how to do that. Matt can show you how to do it if he's in Google Analytics right now. Just go over to, Matt, you can go to, oh, maybe you don't want to reveal any of that to them, do you? Or?
Oh, no, they can see it. I just wanted to show you, yeah, what you do is you can click on the keyword, it opens it up, and then when you click on the page.
Oh, he's in Webmaster Tools, yeah. Webmaster Tools also does, yeah, gives you impression rates.
You can see the impressions, and you can actually see the actual clicks to your page
and
for that period.
Yeah, and Google Webmaster Tools, Google Analytics also does. You can also connect Google Analytics to Google Webmaster Tools. Is anybody aware of that? Give me a 1 if you're aware. You can do that, and 2 if you did not know that. There's a process that you have to go through to connect the two. And there is some data missing on Webmaster Tools that will not exist unless you connect your Google Analytics to that. And you have to do that in the admin area of your Google Analytics area. Okay. Stat counter. I'm not familiar with stat counter, Roy. Isn't stat counter?
Guys, yeah, it's like a page counter. I wouldn't.
Yeah,
you can't get much good data from that.
Well, the only data you get from that is people visiting the site if they've hit the physical page. And I mean, if you're going to have that script running, something that heavy on there, you might as well have it go to a compository, go to a web service. Roy, I don't think in the stat counter you can log in. Can you log into a members area and get more detailed information, or is that just pretty much you have to read the page to get it? Okay. Yeah, that's mostly, you gotta, I would recommend that you step it up a couple notches. And there's an exception to stat counter, like Roy, there's things like, there are situations where I do use stat counters like that, but it's mostly for neuromarketing. What's that? Have you guys seen that rotating globe stat counter where it tells you who's on your site, and it's called revolver maps? You guys familiar with that? There's a layer in the W2 websites that I do use that kind of stat counter, but it's mostly for the impact on the user on the home page, so they can see people on the site and all that, because they tend to stay on the site long when they feel like there's other people there. You can get pages info, and you can exclude. Huh. Okay. Well, we're not speaking to stat counter here. Just make sure that you have decent data, and you can look all that. Thanks for letting me know about that, Roy. Are there any other questions in this week about? I really want the homework assignment. I really want to make sure that the site is up and rolling. Okay, this week, like really get your. One of the things that should be obvious to you by virtue of watching Matt do this stuff is that we don't have some kind of weird phobia or fetish about Webmaster Tools being a problem, and that somehow Big Brother is going to wipe out your empire because you're using Webmaster Tools. Webmaster Tools only helps you. I've seen very little issues about that, and I think we've discussed that before. I would also say that Google Analytics doesn't really hurt you unless you start doing foolish kind of spamming where your UA code is everywhere and you're backlinking using the same account, and the more advanced stuff we get into in other courses. Don't use any of these things foolishly. In the Traffic Hospital course, we do talk about how by using a lot of the things like Kemper's tools and the rest, that you can pretty much see if backlinks and UA codes are coming from the same site or person or account. So in the advanced levels, there's things that you can do to blow yourself up, but you guys aren't doing that on your work on your money site right now. And so you really have very little to worry about. I know that there's a lot of courses out there that are teaching that Google Analytics is a problem and that you don't want to have your entire network or empire in one Google Analytics account. That is true, and we will get into that in the more advanced courses. But for now, you can as long as you're just sticking with your money site in this account, you guys will be fine. And Webmaster Tools, I love Webmaster Tools too, and we talk about it in the Traffic Hospital course. Key point is that it'll tell you when things are wrong. It'll tell you when you're getting more 404 errors. It will tell you when there's things that are happening site-wide that are not helping you. And that's very, very useful. Also, the sitemap is a key function. I cannot emphasize enough how powerful a sitemap is. Does everybody understand what a sitemap actually is? You guys really get and understand what that is? It's like telling Google precisely, without having a robot come to your site, which pages you're published and how they operate and how they're connected. Okay, and that's really, really a key factor. Do you have anything else to add?
Yeah, guys, just as a rule of thumb there with regards to analytics, keep 1 UA per blog, per site. Keep 1 per site, okay? Set yourself up as an admin and then add a new code per site. Never use the same code across multiple sites. Just keep that as a rule and you'll be fine.
Yeah, and I was actually referring to more advanced levels when you're getting into multiple networks. There are some, it's probably too advanced to get into. I'm just saying that I know some of you are looking ahead because you do want to build an empire. It is you everywhere. You know where you're going. You get to a certain point. The common question that comes up I'm just trying to answer is like, okay, if I have 300 sites, should I put them all in one Google Analytics account? Even that's really not that big of a deal, but we do teach you how to create multiple layers when you get into your WR2 sites. That'll be in the more advanced courses, certification curriculum course 3 and 4, or actually Sue and I were just talking about this last night. We'll get into that. But yeah, Matt is 100% correct in that you guys don't have to worry about anything. Just don't use more than 1 UA code on your site. Any other questions?
Yeah, keep it that simple, you'll be fine, eh?
Roy's asking, is it okay to use Google Analytics on your money site and subdomain blog? Google offers a feature where your subdomain can be included on the same admin panel, and they give you a separate UA code for the subdomain, and I think it's almost the same UA code, and they're trying to help you track your subdomain.
It's the same one.
It's the same one, yeah. Well, how do you handle that, Matt? Do you have a unique?
Yeah. Russell, I prefer to keep the 2 data sets separate, so that your stats for your blog are totally clean from what's happening on your money site.
Yeah, I don't like to.
Because if you're promoting really hard, you're going to have that differentiation. There's going to be a big difference between the keywords, and you won't know, okay, are they coming for this or that? You got the URL to work with, but if you keep 2 separate, it's just a much cleaner data set to look at.
Yeah, I absolutely distinguish those 2 data sets as well. So hopefully you guys understand the difference between a subdomain and a domain and a subdomain. So if you have yourmoneysite.com and you have blog.yourmoneysite.com or yourmoneysite.com/blog, what Matt is saying, and I agree, and it's the only way that I set them up, is each one has its own Google Analytics ID. Does that make sense for you guys? Give me one if it makes sense. Okay. All right, cool. So you just go ahead and there's a couple of different. I use a plugin called Google Analytics to install my code just simply. Another thing you can do is if you're using certain themes, you can put it right into the header code, but we're going to cover that more in some more advanced courses, but just follow the general process. All right, you guys, I think this is good for today, and you can see where we are.
Okay, so for the guys who've got up to their blogs, got them set up, what you want to do is you want to do 1 blog post before you connect up your one feed, just to make sure that there's an actual feed in the thing. We covered that last week. But you want to sort of write 1 or 2 blog posts, and you want to drive them through the one feed so that traffic starts running into your first silo or your second silo or your third silo where you are. And you just want to run through the process as you're moving along. And then as you come back the following week again, just start doing these little tweaks as you go along on your sites. Just tweak them and optimize them, clean up headlines, fix up all the little issues Webmaster Tools shows you, and then next week we'll look at analytics. We're going to actual Google Analytics. I'll take you into the analytics. We can actually look at the site and think, okay, what's the best way to move forward? I had a good meeting with Sarah with regards to the website, and there's a whole bunch of new things that we have to build out. and we finally got them to sit down and decide what they want to do. So I'm going to speak about those things next week with week 8, and then we'll look at the analytics and how we can improve and turn this site around. Okay, I think that's about it for today, guys.
I would like to make a couple of announcements.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to next week.
Yep, this will be really good.
Sure.
Matt, just a couple of quick announcements so you guys know the state of Network Empire. Social Explosion is live today for a little while. We're probably going to stay open for a couple of weeks. I just wanted to give you guys an intimate update on what's happening there. Essentially, we've expanded the members and the amount of locations that your links go out onto. This is wpsocialexplosion.com, but you guys have a private members area location for that. Just wanted to let you guys know that that is open. While the plugin itself, you don't have to purchase a subscription to have the plugin work. But one of the updates that we made makes sure that the plugin, you can use your own Pinterest account and your own Twitter account to publish to. So that's just kind of an updated feature. I wanted you guys to let you know that I've been working on that for several days, debugging and improving that. So as far as I know, it's one of the only plugins that will publish to Pinterest well, at least the ones that I have looked at. So that's kind of an advantage I wanted to update you on. Yeah, and that's without even buying a subscription.
Russell.
It'll publish to Digo, Delicious, Pinterest, and Twitter.
Quick question with regards to that. Will Social Explosion work with that Facebook theme that you showed me?
That's not on the table yet. We'll be launching that with a PinVid course.
No, but I'm asking, does those two plugins, does it work the same way, Social Explosion?
I'm not quite following you with the question, Matt.
It's going to work with every post that theme offers, right? In the same way.
I'm not speaking to the Facebook theme. I've never launched out to the public.
Okay, no worries.
Yeah, we'll talk privately.
Then.
Matt's let a cat out of the bag that's going to be announced in the PinVid course. He's discussing a Facebook lookalike theme, which we're currently testing. But the reality is, Matt, every theme should work with Social Explosion. The challenge we were having with Pinterest is that in your blog, I don't know how you guys know, like in your blog you have a featured image. Okay, so the Pinterest was updating the stuff if you'd used the WYSIWYG editor and you'd embedded the image using the media library, right? Give me a 1 if you guys know what the media library is. Let's make sure that everybody's following me. Okay, so the way we had it coded, it had no problem pulling the image from the media library if you were uploading that in the moment. Okay, so, but it wasn't pulling the featured image. So now, if you have a featured image in place, it will pull the featured image and it will pin that automatically for you onto an account. So you can use your own accounts or an own account of yours. And then if you wanted to upgrade to the subscription, we've got dozens of new Pinterest members and literally thousands of new Twitter members. So, do feel free to have anybody in your organization use that, and go ahead. If you have any questions, I'll add you to the Social Explosion group. It's kind of becoming an elite mastermind as the tool gets kind of powerful. So we're going to probably keep it open for like 30-day periods and then close it and stabilize it and these types of things. So I'm pretty excited about it. I want to let you guys know that. Also, stay tuned. We're going to be having more information. Several of you have asked us about the next Tech Foundation course. Matt, the good news is that Matt will be involved a lot in this upgraded part 2, where you can see that conversions and traffic and conversions is a really huge topic, right? You can see that Matt has barely scratched the surface in discussing it. I've barely scratched the surface in telling you what I know about how it's all connected. I mean, I spend most of my day inside analytics and webmaster tools. I have a giant, on my right here, I have a giant 72-inch screen monitor where that is open all day long on a quad split on one giant television on the corner of my room while the other monitors I work on. So analytics and webmaster tools are always open to me all day. Okay, Matt has seen my setup. So that being said, we realized that we have to launch, and Stu has is in the process of creating an amazing curriculum for the next boot camp, which is version 2. It's still in the certification curriculum. It's still part of the voucher towards a live certification event whenever you find that, that you're able to go, whether it's this year or the later in the year, whatever you want to do. And we're going to get more into traffic and analytics. I'm going to go ahead and be talking to a couple of you who have already signed up for that to get a sense of where you're at. I want everybody to, I want the stuff that Matt has covered in this first course to be really clear before he moves on and gets crazy with it, with all of you guys. One person has asked, if we buy Social Explosion, let you know for Skype. Yeah, Mitch, I have a Skype group that's actually kind of hopping for Social Explosion. It's a ton of people in there. I created it because Social Explosion is going through several iterations, and this is one of the this is one of the major software groups that we have, and it was an experiment to see how a software-centric Skype group would work, and it's been really, really good because there was a couple of issues with it where people would just say, hey, I'm having this issue, and before they go to the help desk, I would go ahead and just go into their, it was an intimate environment of early prototypers where I could log into their blog and see what was happening, or Sue could kind of look at it. It was really great because we squashed a couple of the final bugs in the in some hosting companies' PHP yesterday, which is really, really nice. So we'd love to have you guys in there. Anybody who wants to participate in the growth of that program, I'm excited about that. It's one of the coolest things that we've ever designed. So that's really, really cool. And we'll be talking more and more about it at upcoming events. And for now, I think that's all. I don't have any further announcements. Please don't hesitate to contact us in the Tech Foundation training room. We have lots of good stuff coming for you. And I am going to be asking next week for homework to actually look at a couple of your sites. We won't look at it in public, but I'm going to be asking for your URL. You don't have to share it, but Matt and I just like to hold you accountable to the things that are happening by that time. I think the one person who doesn't have his words yet will be completely caught up, and we'll be moving on to those other things. Thanks, Matt. Really appreciate your time, and we'll see everybody on the call next week.
Okay, great. Thanks a lot, guys. I'll see you guys. And if you need anything, just Skype me. I'm back on the track again. So I'll speak to you also now.
Do we need to add the time trade, or are you going to do that some other way? You're going to go on the Skype group?
I'm going to drop time trade into the tech group, so everyone's got access to it.
Okay.
Into the Skype group.
All right. All right. Thanks a lot, guys. We'll see you on the inside. Bye.
Great. Thanks, guys. Cheers. Bye.